Hi everyone, I'm Anila Dami presenting for BritAsia TV, and today I'm speaking to the fabulous Bollywood actress Sonam Kapoor all about her movie Padman. Sonam, thank you so much for your time today.
Not at all.
Tell us about Padman and your role in it.
Padman is a very fascinating story of an ordinary man who did something extraordinary with his life for a problem that is considered a woman's problem, which is your period or menstruation. Yeah. It's actually a love story. It's a beautiful love story of a man who saw his wife using dirty cloth during her period and saw the stigma and taboo behind something that was so normal and kind of wanted to do something better for her. My role is of a very progressive, fascinating girl who kind of comes as a beacon of hope when he loses all his hope.
And, you know, talking about the fact that it was a man talking about something regarded as a women's issue, what was it like playing alongside Akshay Kumar? What's your kind of experience been with periods and menstruation, particularly when it comes to discussing it with men?
You know, honestly, when this story came to me, when the script was offered to me, I didn't think of it as a, you know, I didn't think, oh my God, we're talking about periods and, you know, a man did, you know, I'm going to be discussing this with a man, etc., etc. I didn't think of it that way. I just thought, well, what an amazing story, you know, we should be a part of it and I should be a part of it and we should make this. And when you know, and when Akshay, I saw that Akshay was doing it, I was like, amazing.
Yeah, he's a legend, isn't he?
Yeah, I was like, you know, a mainstream Bollywood movie star who could be playing Khiladi in every film decides to do a film called Padman. Yeah. I think it's commendable, you know. So I'm very, very privileged and happy to be a part of this film.
It seems like, from what you've said, your experience with menstruation has been one that's actually not had a lot of shame and stigma attached to it. And, you know, is that because of your upbringing? What has been your experience with menstruation? What was it like starting your first period?
I was like 15 and I was very upset that I got it so late because I wasn't a part of all my friends who, you know, would discuss it every month and speak about it, and I was like, why am I not a part of that group?
So you wanted to start
your period? I wanted to start my period. I was like, what? I was like, Mom, what's wrong with me? And, you know, she, you know, took me to a doctor, and the doctor said, you know, it's normal, you know, and obviously girls now are getting it much earlier than what we used to get, you know, 15 years back. So when I did get it, I was very excited and happy, and it was almost a celebration, even though I was in a lot of pain. And, you know, I hope with this film, that experience is with, you know, all girls go through that experience of being excited about getting their period, because eventually that makes them women, you know?
I mean, I remember when I first started mine, and it was all very hush-hush around the men, but as soon as I got home, I was a bit like, oh my God, you know, what's happened to me? But everyone, all the women in my life congratulated me. They said, now you can have children. Yeah. So, you know, it was a real kind of, it was a becoming of a woman kind of moment.
Yeah. And that's what I want people, not only women, people around the world to understand that if women didn't get their periods or didn't go through menstruation, we wouldn't be around.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how procreation happens, you know. It's important, yeah.
And I think it's really important, actually, to show a sanitary towel on our screens, because this is something that, you know, people might be in the workplace and they hide and, you know, undercover, they say to their colleagues, oh, do you have a sanitary towel? Because, you know, I've just started my period in a meeting. And then they stuff it in their pockets. And there's so much shame and stigma around this. Why do you think it was important that we showed this on our screens? And is there something you want this movie to achieve, a kind of call to action? Because it is, you know, a social message.
Yeah.
What do you hope it will achieve?
First of all, I hope it normalizes the idea of a period. It shouldn't be a problem behind closed doors. Secondly, you know, it's something that 50% of the population goes through every month. Most of the population goes through every month. And it is very painful for most people, you know. There's a lot your body goes through every month.
Yeah, and the hormones and
everything. It's very painful, and it requires a lot of strength, you know. It's not something So if you're open about it and you can share and talk about it, I think it makes it easier. Any problem that you can talk about and share makes it easier and better.
Definitely. And you've when it comes to periods as well, I think it is a worldwide kind of issue. Because in India, girls drop out of school when they start their periods.
Yeah,
so it's
like
cross seas, really.
It's not only an issue in developing countries. I mean, obviously it's a major issue in India, but even in England, 1 out of 10 girls don't go to school when they have their period because they don't have access to sanitary napkins. I mean, a statistic like that is scary.
It is.
It is very scary, and it's just. Sanitary napkins are so highly taxed in India. There's a 12% GST on it. It's considered a luxury item.
Yeah, and that's the same for it here as well. It's got a tax on it, so for a basic necessity.
Yeah.
You've played really big roles, and I'm particularly thinking of your role in Nirja as well, and now Padman. Do you sometimes feel any pressure to play such big roles, or what is the kind of feeling that you come to with these films?
I don't think there's a pressure to play these kind of roles. I think it's a responsibility, and it makes me want to go to work every morning. And
That's lovely.
I mean, just imagine if I had to do these kind of interviews back to back about a film that I didn't believe in.
Absolutely.
That would be tedious and painful. At least over here, I believe in what I'm doing. I want to speak about it because I think it's important, and if I have to work so hard for something, it should be something worth working hard for.
I think that's just a lovely message for our viewers as well, that, do something you believe in.
Yeah.
And will we be seeing more kind of social messaging with your films?
Yes, hopefully so.
Good. We look forward to
Thank you.
seeing what you're up to.
Thank you.
You obviously do a lot for women's rights, and currently kind of dominating the headlines is the whole sexual harassment scandal, particularly with Harvey Weinstein. What would you say to that, and how do you think the tide is turning for women in Bollywood, Hollywood, acting industries and elsewhere?
Well, the world is going through very contrary, In America, Donald Trump is president, and then the Me Too campaign is happening. That's shocking, right? A misogynistic, sexist, racist man is the president, and these amazing campaigns are happening. I think it's fascinating. And then, but at the same time, so this kind of tussle's happening in India, where we have such ridiculous censorship and so much, banning of films, etc. But at the same time, films like Padman are being made. So I think it's a very exciting time and an amazing time for, for society in general, for art in general.
Amazing. And I do want to look slightly ahead as well, because you've got another new film, Veere Di Wedding.
Yeah, Veere Di Wedding, yeah.
And starring in that is Kareena Kapoor Khan, Swara Bhaskar, and Shikha Talsania.
Yeah, perfect, yeah.
Lovely. I'm glad I got that right.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
Again, it's a story about 4 people who have a fascinating, they have great friends, and, it's their coming of age.
And what was it like being in an all-female cast?
Brilliant. The most fun I've ever had on a film.
Brilliant. And do you think it's important? Because, I mean, here in the UK as well, there's a lot of kind of progression in terms of who we're seeing on screen. So we're seeing like 2 female presenters hosting a show, all female cast lineups in theatre productions. Do you think that is really quite paramount to the whole narrative of how women are being perceived in media, on our screens?
I hope it's not, when you say that, you say it as something different. I want it to be something normal, that we don't talk about it anymore. It's not an oddity anymore that it's an all-female cast in a movie, or there are 2 female presenters. I don't want it to be a point of conversation. I want it to be something that's normal. So when that comes, when that happens, that's when we are progressed. I think right now it's still an oddity. It's still something that is so different, odd, that we're still talking about, saying, did you know there's an all-female film being made? Oh, did you know there's an all-female cast of you know.
Yeah, and I think that is due to the kind of history. You know, historically, women haven't been in, you know.
I mean, in theatres in England, you know, women weren't allowed to act.
Exactly.
You know,
so
and
it is a real turning of the tide. It is a talking point.
Yeah.
But it is lovely that you want to see it normalised, and I think that that's such a great aspiration.
Yeah.
And just a final note, because you know you're doing so much. We've talked about female cast lineups. We're talking about Padman. For our BritAsia viewers, what message would you like to leave for them?
Well, my film's releasing on the 25th of January. There are paid previews on the 24th in England, and it's a fascinating and important story that I think should be seen and should be spoken about.
Sonam Kapoor, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for speaking with me.
I hope you've all enjoyed the interview. I'm sure you have. It's the lovely Sonam Kapoor, and I'm Anila Dami talking for BritAsia TV.